Hello to part 2 of today's cooking marathon kitchen adventures with Joy. The apples for the applesauce are resting. They need a little rest before I start cooking them. And so this is now the opportunity to start cutting up the veggies for whatever dish that ends up being. Which are some root veggies. So we have a yellow beet and a purple beet, a nice big potato, carrots, and I'm also going to use half of this. Now I know this isn't a root vegetable, but it goes color-wise, goes very well with the rest. So, but I'm going to use the big knife for cutting these. The small one, using the big knife. My stomach is growling. Okay. Half an aubergine. Do I use the bigger half or the smaller half? Because I don't think they're exactly the same. Do I use that one or that one? What do you think? That one? Or that one? Yeah, sometimes I make things more difficult than they need to be, potentially. That one. Can I change this just a little bit so you can see me better? I mean, I don't know how intent you are on actually seeing me, but might be nice to not just have a headless body cutting up veggies. Yeah, the funny thing about what I'm doing right now is that I actually have no real idea what I'm doing. It may not sound like that. It may not look like that. You may be wondering, wait, she said that she's going to, yeah, she did say that. But quite often I have, like, when I start cooking or inventing dishes, I have an idea of where I'm going. I don't. This time around I don't. I have a feeling. It's very interesting to observe that. I have a feeling that says that wants to do this, that wants to do this kind of, whatever this is going to be. I'm afraid it's going to turn into stew. I don't actually want it to turn into stew, but I want something like dense. I think that's the best. It's the best description. You have root veggies and pre-cooked white beans. And so yeah. That was my fingernail. Fortunately, the fingernail and not the finger. This happens when you don't pay attention to what you're doing. When you're already ahead. No, it was just a fingernail. Just a fingernail, and I don't think I cut. Yeah, I just only cut a little bit off. That's okay. I've had some very interesting experiences with this knife. Yeah, don't worry, I'm not going into detail. Let's just say that this knife has taught me a lot about being present during the cooking process, or at least during the chopping up veggies process. I think this is another example of, hey, it doesn't look like much, and then I have the pot full of veggies. Actually, I wanted to add in onions. Oops. I mean, usually I wouldn't. Chop all the veggies. Chop onions. Oh, come on, carrot. This carrot does not want to go into the rush. So yeah, usually I would cut all the veggies, then cut the onion, saute the onion, and add the veggies. I think it doesn't look as if I'm doing that this time. Okay. Yeah, I'm good. We can do things differently. Watch how it turns out. So, yeah, so I'm just going to throw everything into the pot at the same time, which means that if I cook this then for like 20 minutes, some of it will be almost mush and some of it will still be crunchy, al dente. I know. Some people don't like that or have been trained that this is wrong, that everything should have the same consistency, which I think no. But then I'm entirely self-taught when it comes to cooking. I didn't learn in school. I never attended a class. I simply started cooking. Actually, it was at that time when I was between jobs. Well, I wasn't actually. Yeah, between jobs, kind of. I finished my master's degree and was looking for work, and I don't know what it's like in other countries, but Germany does not know what to do with someone who has a master's in English literature. And so I spent a lot of time looking for jobs and got very frustrated, depressed, and then I decided that I needed to do something that wasn't trolling online job seekers websites, and I was living at my mother's place and she was still working, and so I decided, you know what, I'm going to take over running the house. I did. I didn't do everything, but I did most things, like laundry, vacuuming, and I did the cooking. That's how I started cooking. I mean, as I said, I'm entirely self-taught. The most I had cooked during my student days was pasta. Or I think at one point I think I cooked potatoes at some point, but most of it was kind of like ready-made, just warm it up, mix it together, that kind of thing. So I didn't really have a lot of experience in cooking from scratch. And I remember the time there was a recipe that asked for like 5 grams of salt. I panicked. I was cooking from recipes because, as I said, I didn't have a lot of experience in cooking. So I cooked from recipes, and the recipe said add 5 grams of salt. And I completely panicked. I did not know how much 5 grams would be, and because my mother's kitchen scales were not digital, they were analog, and they only measured in like 25 gram degrees. What was 5 gram? I mean, these days I know 5 gram is just like a teaspoon, and these days when the recipe says add 5 gram of salt, I just go whatever. But I didn't know that in the beginning. And I panicked. There were a couple of times when I picked up my mother's old cookbook that she got from school because she learned cooking at school. And then I looked things up. It's like I didn't know what do you mean simmer? What is that? Simmer. Yeah, I mean I'm laughing now, but it was quite stressful. But it's actually I find cooking is a great way. I mean I mentioned it before. To me, cooking, especially the chopping up part, is grounding. It's really, really grounding. Gets me out of the head, gets me in the body, gets me in the present moment, especially when I'm using this knife. And so it was a great way of balancing, like sitting on the computer for hours and looking at websites, looking at job ads. Yeah. And I learned, and I became, and then I started experimenting. First, I started experimenting with recipes. Like I read cookbooks just to find interesting sounding recipes. That was that was fun too. I still enjoy doing. I mean, I still enjoy looking at recipes. Though these days it's more for inspiration than actually looking for something I want to make. But yeah, that's how I got into cooking. Yeah. And these days, I'm having a lot of fun. Like I really enjoy doing that, and I'm enjoying what I'm doing right now. I'm recording this, and even if nobody watches this recording, I'm not actually making this to be watched. I'm making this because I want to. Because it feels right. It feels right, and that's why I'm doing it. And for the spiritual amongst you, that's what it means to come from the soul. You don't know what you're doing, you don't know why you're doing it. You're not doing it for a purpose so much as because it feels right. And I'm having fun. I'm having a lot of fun. Internally I'm dancing. Like this. I like yellow beet. I like beet in general. I never used to. I hated beets, especially the red ones. Like for the longest time I didn't even know yellow beets existed. I knew these, the red ones, and I didn't know them in that version. I only knew them peeled and pre-cooked to buy in the supermarket. And then it was my first open hat retreat 5 years ago now. 6 more. It was in 2016. So 9 years. Wow. 9 years ago I attended my first open hat retreat. Wednesday afternoon to Monday lunchtime. We had the event was catered 3 meals a day, and one day we had a beetroot salad, raw beetroot salad. I didn't know it was beetroot salad when I put it on my plate. I just liked the color. It was with cauliflower, beetroot and cauliflower, and it was delicious. And then I found out later, I think somebody asked the chef, so what's this? What's in this? And then she said, yeah, beetroot and cauliflower. I was like, beetroot? Ooh. I think I like beetroot now. That's how I got into liking beetroot. And yes, I cut them without any kind of gloves on or whatever, because yeah, it gets a bit red, but you know what? I can wash my hands. I can wash my hands. I don't need gloves. Actually, gloves, now, if you prefer cooking or cutting beetroot with gloves on or with like any kind of plastic, you do you, right? I don't like gloves because usually they're way too big for my hands, and then I don't have enough feeling in my hands, and then I cut myself. And so I much prefer cutting beetroot like this. Chopping, I think the correct English word is chopping. Chop chop. dun. Alright, and on that note, I'll wash my hands. Hand, knife, chopping board. My secrets. My secrets. Okay. Squack, squack, squack. My stomach is growling. Still a bit early to eat. Anyway, oops, I splashed a bit of beetroot all over the place. Okay, so this is what it looks like now. I'll give it a stir. Oh. Yeah, I know it's probably all going to turn beetroot red at some point, but look at that. It's autumn. I'm thinking about maybe I should add the greens in there. I don't know yet. Beans. Come on, bean. Bean. Oh wow, how many people are coming for dinner? Alright. Yeah, actually I'm thinking about adding the greens I got yesterday because I think it's mango actually, or something like that. Might be nice. No, it's not mango. It's that. It's this. I have no idea what this is. It's green. Tastes good. Okay, whatever. So, that was the bean glass. I think it needs more water than that. Yeah. Needs more water than that. See if that's enough. Yeah. Okay. So, salt. Five grams of salt. I will probably add more spices later. I don't know which ones yet. And even if I had an idea now, I might just spontaneously change my mind. As I do. Alright, so lid on, goes on stove, stove on, heat on, and that's it. I'm going to bring this to a boil now. Turn the heat down and let it simmer for like 20 minutes and then make the fork test and see how cooked everything is. Alright? Alright. So that's for this part. See you in the next part.